Podcast.
Welcome to Our Weird World. I'm your host, John Henson, and today we got 4 stories for you of people who died thanks to the internet. God, I'm in that generation that we got the internet. We're like the first generation to get the internet. We got the dial-up, that all that stuff. Got the dial-up. And then no one could call your house because you're just on the internet all the time. Those were fun times. Then, we got DSL and America Online, and you had all these chat rooms, and you just had all these weird people talking to you, all these old people posing as cool teenagers. But then you could, all your friends had AIM, and you would set real passive-aggressive away messages with song lyrics, whatever. Oh, God, it was so much fun. What a time to be alive. You would rush home, get on AIM, and then just wait for your other friends to get home. And you just chat all day and tie up the phone line. Life so much simpler. You just updating your MySpace top 8. Oh, to go back to those times. Oh, God. It was terrible, but it was also great. Oh, man. Just driven by hormones and sad song lyrics. Anyway, these are 4 people who they are the poster people for what not to do with the internet. All right. We are looking at the stories of Armin Meiwes, Thomas Montgomery, Sherry Schreiner, and our first story will be of Sharon Lopatka.
Story time. Story time. Story time? Story time.
Sharon Lopatka was born on September 20th, 1961 to a very normal Jewish family in Baltimore, Maryland. She had a totally normal Jewish childhood, married a normal but not Jewish guy, and then ran a very normal internet advertising business where she wrote ad copy and hosted various websites. She also, on the side, marketed pornographic content depicting men engaging in sex acts with women who were often drugged, hypnotized, or chloroformed unconscious. So, maybe she wasn't that normal after all. Just a creepy little Jew lady doing side porn with basically men raping women, which is crazy. As a woman, that is such a crazy fetish to have. It's just oh, what turns you on? I'm really into feet. Oh, yeah, what about you? Oh, I like hot candle wax poured on my bare chest. Oh, yeah, what about you? I like watching other women be raped. Okay, creep. Aren't you a woman? Yeah. Okay. All right, well, your voice is kind of deep. I know, it's just how I get when I'm horny thinking about it. I'm so sorry. Anyway. This episode's going to be like that. I'm sorry. So as time went on, Sharon got deeper and deeper into her sexual fantasies of other women being raped while they're unconscious. She sold her used underwear to whatever creeps were into that. And she spent time on several fetish chat rooms that focused on totally normal things like bondage and necrophilia. So this chick is way crazy. Also, time out. Dudes, what's with wanting women's underwear, right? Here's the thing. And I'm not trying to virtue signal here or anything, but I have within, 20 feet of where I am recording right now, just a treasure trove of my wife's underwear, just sitting there. You know how many times? Also, here's the thing. Also, some of it's clean, and then the dirty clothes hamper is right there. So guess what? I got a treasure trove of my wife's underwear. I could walk in there right now and just, but I don't. All right. Because that's weird. I don't understand. What are you trying to smell? Like, do you really just love the smell of summer's eve that much? I don't. Just buy a bottle, dude. Rub it on your skin. Like, treat it like cologne. Just rub a little summer's eve under your wrist. And just when you're feeling it, just, and then that's it. That's all you need. I don't understand this weird, like, sub-market of men who want to buy used underwear for women. I don't know if they still do it, but I read at one point Japan had vending machines of women's underwear, and that could be totally a made-up thing, but also, given how much I know about Japan, would not surprise me whatsoever. They're weird over there, but I can't, like, it's not like it's a uniquely weird thing for Japan because all these dudes in America wanting to buy up used underwear. That's just gross. With just a crusty, dried up snail trail in there. Ew. Like, oh, man. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what Sharon's up to. She's also in chat rooms talking about bondage and, necrophilia. So, like, now she's moved beyond porn with, men raping women who are, drugged unconscious. She's now just on to, like, men doing it with dead women's bodies. She even developed an online persona named Carlson, a 300-pound dominatrix porn star. Oh, God. In 1996, Sharon met Robert Glass in one of these chat rooms. Glass was a government computer analyst who lived in rural Catawba County, North Carolina, and operated under the pseudonyms Toyman and Slowhand. I get Toyman, all right? Like, you could probably jump to some conclusions about what Toyman is all about. But what is Slowhand? Like, I don't know what that means at all. He and his wife had recently filed for divorce after discovering his chat room activities and the super dark and violent messages that he was sending there. Sharon, however, was super into it. And the two sent as much as 900 pages worth of emails to each other talking about whatever. Oh, yeah, I would let you knock me unconscious and violate me. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll let you kill me and let you do whatever you want to my dead body. Like, okay, gross. On October 13th, Sharon left a note informing her husband that she was going to meet an acquaintance in Georgia and that she would never be coming home. I don't know why she had to say she was going to Georgia. She just said, I'm never coming home. I'm leaving you, never coming back. She also asked that no one track down said acquaintance and that if her body was never recovered, not to worry about it because she was at peace. Sharon then took the train from Baltimore to Charlotte, where Glass picked her up and took her to his home in Lenoir, roughly 75 miles away and definitely nowhere near Georgia. I guess she just like threw Georgia in there to throw people off, which again, if you're going to do that, do a state that's farther away from North Carolina and in a different direction. Say like Illinois or Wisconsin or something. Wisconsin would have been totally believable. All right. There's a bunch of weirdos up there. Like, but no, you're like, I'm just going to go to Georgia. And she's like, not even that far away. It then should not surprise you to learn that Sharon died. However, police found plenty of evidence to suggest that she literally asked for it. After 3 days of intense sexual torture with Robert Glass, he, quote unquote, accidentally strangled her to death with a rope. Despite doing what he was told, by all accounts, Sharon told him to strangle her with a rope. Glass was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and possession of child pornography and given roughly 7 years in prison, which seems really light. Either way, he died of a heart attack on February 20th, 2002. Our next story here is of Armin Meiwes, who was a computer repair technician in Germany, but life just wasn't exciting enough for him. He needed something more. So in 2001, Armin posted an advertisement on the Cannibal Cafe, which, at least at the time, was a real website devoted to people who had cannibal fetishes. Okay. For whatever reason, Armin wanted a, quote, well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and consumed. And in March of that year, an engineer from Berlin named Bernd Jürgen Armando Brandes, who also apparently needed more excitement in his life, answered the ad. The two ended up meeting on March 9th in Armin's home in Rottenburg and set up a video camera to record the fun. But rather than starting with something small, like, I don't know, chopping off a finger or a toe, this dude, Brandes, agreed to let Armin chop off his penis so that the both of them could eat it together. This is so stupid. After swallowing 20 sleeping pills and drinking half a bottle of schnapps, Bernd was finally in a place where he could instruct Armin to just bite his wiener off. Not cut it, not use like a very sharp butcher's knife to just slice that thing off. No, Armin, I am very drugged up now. In this moment, you can remove my wiener. I will instruct you to take your very large teeth and chomp it off. Go hang yang yang right there on the tip of my wiener. Okay? I very much appreciate. Anyway, so obviously that didn't work. All right. I don't know if you've ever tried to bite off a wiener. I have not, but as the owner of one, I can imagine it's not going to come off very easily, especially if it's soft. All right. Anyway, we're not going to get any more. Get more detailed, but like it's very gelatinous and squishy, you know, and it's just and if your teeth aren't super sharp, you're gonna have a hard time getting it off. So obviously that didn't work, and eventually Armin sliced it off with a knife. Brandes took a bite, but he couldn't eat it because it was too chewy, and so while all of this is going on, he's bleeding out, right? Because, you know, there's a vein there. It's pretty significant vein. So he's just bleeding out. So Armin took the amputated appendage and fried it in a pan with salt, pepper, garlic, and wine. Got a little nice red wine reduction on the penis. Anyway, but because no one really knows how to fry a penis, Armin burned it. So he just chopped it up and fed it to his dog. Dog loved it. Dogs eat anything. After the failed snack, Armin goes back to Brandes, takes him to the bathroom, and puts him in the bathtub. Bathtub is full, and so, you know, he's still bleeding out of his what was his penis hole, and while his blood mixed with the bathwater, Armin just went to his bedroom and read a Star Trek book, and he would just go into the bathroom and check on Brandes every 15 minutes or so. And I guess while he was like taking a bath or whatever. And when he was done, Brandes tried to get out, but collapsed into unconsciousness from the massive loss of blood. At that point, Armin took Brandes upstairs and, after saying a short prayer, stabbed him in the throat, killing him. Once he was dead, Armin hanged the body on a meat hook. Who just has a meat hook? Germans. Germans would have a meat hook just hanging in their apartment all willy-nilly. Over the next 10 months, Armin ate 44 pounds, not just 44 pieces, 44 pounds of Brandes' corpse. The entire 4-hour process, by the way, of him trying to bite off wiener, not being able to, then chopping it off, and then ultimately killing him, all of that was recorded on video. In December of 2002, Armin put another advertisement online looking for another victim, because obviously it worked so well before. A college student then alerted authorities to the understandably super weird request. A few days later, police arrived at Armin's home and found the videotape and pieces of Brandes's body, still in the freezer. So, I mean, you know, at least he's not wasting it. On January 30th, 2004, Armin was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years in prison. The next year, however, a German court ordered a retrial, claiming that Armin should have been convicted of murder because he killed Brandes for sexual gratification. And then on May 10th, 2006, Armin was in fact convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Ironically, after he began his sentence, Armin became a vegetarian. Our next story here, super dramatic. In May of 2005, Marine Sniper met Tall Hot Blonde on Pogo, which is this gaming website. I don't know if it still exists. It may, but it hosted chat rooms for its users. Tall Hot Blonde was an 18-year-old blonde who couldn't spell because she forgot one of the L's in tall, but whatever. But she was hot, so it was fine. Marine Sniper was not actually 18, but it was the internet, and he decided to pretend to be 18 as well. But I mean, because what's the worst that could happen? Well, Marine Sniper was actually 46-year-old married father of 3 Thomas Montgomery, who figured he would never actually meet the flirty tall hot blonde, but the two ended up falling in love. Tall Hot Blonde was just a girl named Jessie from West Virginia who enjoyed playing softball and sending nude pictures of herself to guys that she thought was the same age as her. Eventually, though, Jessie asked for a picture of Marine Sniper in return. Also, can we just talk about how stupid Jessie is? You can't be a Marine Sniper at 18 years old. You can barely be in the Marines at 18 years old, and it takes a while for you to become a sniper. But anyway, whatever. So she asked for a picture of Marine Sniper in return because she's been sending her pictures of her boobies for God knows how long at this point. Montgomery at this point panicked and sent an old, blurry, but passable picture of himself in his younger days. Montgomery told Jessie that his name was Tommy and that he was actually part of a covert Black Ops Marine squad on his way to Iraq. Although Montgomery had served in the Marines, he never came close to seeing any sort of action. But Montgomery, he kind of just he gets so deep into this lie and this fake relationship that it gets away from him. And so he lets this little internet relationship just blow up and consume his life. And he truly began to believe that he wasn't just this doughy 46-year-old married father of 3, but that he was actually this 18-year-old muscular, redheaded for some reason, sniper in the Marines actively. On January 2nd, 2006, Montgomery wrote a note to himself saying, quote, Tom Montgomery, 46 years old in parentheses, ceases to exist and is replaced by 18-year-old battle-scarred Marine. He is moving to West Virginia to be with the love of his life. But before he could carry out his totally well-thought-out plan, he accidentally slipped up and his secret got out. One night, one of his daughters was using his computer when Jessie sent him a message. Montgomery's daughter saw it, told her mom, who then found all of the love letters, photos, and even the pair of red panties that Jessie had sent him. Montgomery's wife then took great joy in messaging Jessie and telling her the truth about who Marine Sniper really was. Furious at this, Jessie told Montgomery when she was able to actually talk to him next that she hated him and broke off the relationship. And then, to make things even worse, she messaged Montgomery's 22-year-old coworker, Brian Barrett, a.k.a. Beefcake, to see if all of this was true. Unsurprisingly now, Jessie and Beefcake really hit it off and developed the same sort of passionate online relationship that she had had with Marine Sniper. Montgomery, he finds out about this. The betrayal from his 22-year-old, much younger, probably much better looking coworker. Obviously, his name's Beefcake. And he's consumed with jealousy when he finds out that Jessie, the love of his fake second life, has moved on from him. And to make things worse, Barrett and Jessie would go into the same Pogo chat rooms and expose Montgomery for his lies, and even painted him out to be this pedophile, which, he's into 18-year-olds, which isn't great. It's not a good look, but it doesn't make him a pedophile. But then, out of nowhere, Jessie changes her mind. Jessie's insane. Jessie rekindles her relationship with not the real Thomas Montgomery, but Montgomery's Marine Sniper character. And now, because this is the kind of dumb episode this is, I'm going to read you an actual transcription of one of their conversations. Wish you were nude. That's obviously Marine Sniper. What would you do? That's Tall Hot Blonde. Stare. That all? Nope. You might get the magic. I can't do this. I can't do this with a straight face. You might get the magic. Because remember, this is a 46-year-old dude saying this to an 18-year-old. So anyway, I'm sorry, I got to get back into character. All right, let's restart. Wish you were nude. What would you do? Stare. That all? Nope. You might get the magic. Make love to me, Tommy. Oh, gross. But just as quickly as Jessie had rekindled the relationship with this person who didn't even exist, she unexpectedly broke things off again, sending Montgomery into this downward spiral. And to make things even worse, when Montgomery found out that Jessie had gone back to Beefcake Barrett the second time, and that he was driving down to North Carolina to meet her, even though that wasn't where she lived. She lives in West Virginia, but whatever. Montgomery completely lost his mind. And so on September 15th, 2006, Montgomery shot Barrett 3 times in the parking lot where they both worked. Police quickly learned about this weird internet love triangle and worked to track down Jessie to make sure that she was okay. Well, guess what? When they arrived at her house, they were shocked to find a woman named Mary Sheeler living there. They were even more shocked to find, and get ready for this M. Night Shyamalan twist, Sheeler was actually Tall Hot Blonde, and that she had actually been sending nude photos of her daughter, the real Jessie, to Montgomery and Barrett. So now, all right, let's read. It sounds like Brian Barrett is the only person who was actually portraying himself, because 46-year-old Thomas Montgomery is thinking that he's talking to this 18-year-old tight little thing in West Virginia, when actually he's talking to her mom, who's posing as her daughter. And how she got nude pictures of her daughter is crazy and something that no one cares to explain. I don't get that either. But, oh, sweet closure to find that they were just both catfishing each other. Montgomery was easily found guilty and received a 20-year sentence for killing Brian Barrett. Although prosecutors in New York, where Montgomery had committed the murder, tried to charge Sheeler with the crime, there wasn't anything on the books about catfishing people on the internet yet. However, Sheeler's husband found out and divorced her, and then her daughter, the real Jessie, probably really pissed off that her mom had nude pictures of her somehow, moved away and cut off all ties with her. Oh, God, I love that story so much. Our final story here is of Sherry Shriner, who was born in 1965 in Cleveland, Ohio. She went on to graduate from Kent State University in 1990 with her degrees in journalism, political science, and criminal justice. Super smart person, but apparently not, because over time she came to believe that the New World Order was really in existence and that notable world figures such as Queen Elizabeth and Barack Obama were shape-shifting lizard people whose alien overlords were working to establish a one world government. And that community is actually way bigger than you might think. And it's just, David Icke is kind of the biggest sounding board for all of this. And they're all just criminally insane people to think that there are shape-shifting reptilian aliens who are actually running all of the world's governments. It's so dumb. But thanks to the rise of YouTube and Facebook, Sherry was able to share her insane conspiracies through a variety of self-published ebooks and videos that soon garnered her more than 15,000 followers. And to supplement her income, where she was, I guess, still working in either journalism or political science or criminal justice, I don't know. But to supplement her income, she launched nearly a dozen different websites and began selling Orgone, a substance that she claimed could, quote, repel evil entities. Orgone isn't really a thing. It's just, I don't even know what it was. It made like a rock that she found or something. Or just like she mixed, like, I don't know, water and a gelatin packet together. I don't know. She described herself as a messenger of the Most High God and claimed that, quote, everybody you see on TV, about 90%, is a clone or synthetic robotoid, which I love how she immediately walked back her statement. Everybody you see on TV. Okay, like 90% of the people you see on TV. So not everybody, but like basically everybody. But yeah, is a clone or a synthetic robotoid. She soon began telling her followers that the end was near and to not waste their last days on Earth doing trivial things like going to college. One follower, 19-year-old Kelly Pengilly, did just that and dropped out of school to go work for Shriner as a transcriber, as well as frequently traveled to New York to protest the existence of the New World Order. God, I want to go to one of those protests so bad. Just, yeah, okay, let's go protest something that doesn't actually exist. Good job. Unsurprisingly, Pengilly was found dead on December 28th, 2012 in a park in Waterloo Township, Michigan, after overdosing on sleeping pills. She was found wearing an Oregon pendant and carried a note expressing her belief in Shriner's teachings about fulfilling a great destiny. When Shriner announced Pengilly's death to her followers, she claimed that Pengilly had actually been murdered by a NATO death squad because of her belief in Yahuwah, the one true God. Okay. In 2017, one of Shriner's followers, Barbara Rogers, made a pretty trivial Facebook post about enjoying the taste of raw meat. Shriner saw the post and took offense to it and began accusing Rogers of being possessed by a vampire demon, because only vampire demons eat raw meat, you guys. At that point, Rogers' boyfriend, Stephen Mineo, became convinced that Shriner was an insane fraud and actually began uploading his own videos, trying to expose her for all of her lies. In response, Shriner's followers excommunicated Rogers and Mineo and labeled Rogers as a, quote, vampire witch reptilian super soldier, which, fine. I would rather be that than some insane little dork following every single word that this crazy lady says on YouTube. On July 15th, 2017, Mineo and Rogers went out for drinks in their hometown of Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania, roughly 100 miles north of Philadelphia, up in the Poconos. When the couple returned home at 2 a.m., Mineo took Rogers out to the woods to shoot his gun. So you know what kind of people these are. What better time than to go out and shoot your gun in the middle of the night? Anyway, when they went back inside, Mineo then asked Rogers to shoot him in the head. And so she did, allegedly. That's how it goes. Police arrived 30 minutes later to find Mineo's body with a hole in his forehead. Rogers was quickly arrested, but was adamant that Mineo had forced her to shoot him. When Shriner heard about this murder, she claimed that Rogers had, quote, morphed her huge teeth out to reveal her reptilian shape before killing Mineo. Shriner then urged her followers to donate to Mineo's funeral fund and sold Oregon for $288 to benefit the GoFundMe campaign that she set up and then never donated any of the proceeds to. Shocking. Rogers was eventually convicted of third-degree murder and was sentenced to 15 to 40 years in prison. Shriner died a year later in 2018 of a heart attack, at which point her online cult faded away. All right, there we go. Death by internet in the books. Let us recap and see what we learned today.
What did we learn?
Number one, look, even if you're into like necrophilia or like some crazy extreme sexual stuff, don't go into chat rooms and communicate that, because I just keep it to yourself, you know? Otherwise you'll end up like Sharon Lopatka, who literally asked to be murdered and was. So, number two, Armin Meiwes. found some dork willing to be slaughtered and eaten because they were both in, like, how messed up do you have to be where your deepest fantasy in life is to have someone eat you? God, Germans. Anyway, and then number 3, there's no such thing as reptilian shape-shifting overlords taking over the governments and running the world. If you or anyone you love believes in that, you're stupid.
What did we learn?
Next week on Our Weird World, it is a new month. We are into May, and it's another weird fun bag. 3 more stories. We're going to look at a real bad circumcision, a crazy suicide, and just one of the most adorably dumb people that you may have ever met. So come back next week for those fun stories, and thank you so much for continuing to listen. Keep telling all your friends, and keep it weird.
This is a podcast